Hey everybody, Mr. Smith from St. John's Prep here, and I'm going to start by saying the obvious, that this year is unlike any other year any of us have lived through. So to begin with, let's start by me introducing myself by video. So why do that? Because I really want you to see me, and I wanted to introduce you and welcome you to the course, and I don't know how this Zoom room technology is going to work. And I also am not even sure how it's going to work with me trying to talk to you with a mask on. Okay, so first things first. Let's talk for a second about how we're going to begin the year. First things first. This year is going to be one of the years where we really want to keep maybe 80% of awesome. And what I mean by that is it's really important for us all to realize that we can't have everything. This isn't perfect. So in the midst of a global pandemic, our school has worked very hard to try to come up with a limited number of things that all of us have to do so we can keep these good times rolling and try to keep people safe, keep them out of the hospital, try to keep the faculty safe, keep them out of the hospital, and try to keep your loved ones safe and out of the hospital. So the Prep 5 that we're going to ask you to adhere to, I'm really serious about them. We'll talk about them in class. We'll ask questions about them in class. But I want to start by saying that I really view this as a covenant. And as Dr. Hardiman talked about so clearly, this is a commitment that I want to make to all of you. And I'd ask you to make it to yourselves and to the rest of us. So plenty more on that later, but I wanted to start with that note of intention. Okay. So a couple things about the year in physics. Physics is a lot of things. To begin with, physics is inside of almost every everyday invention that you use, whether it's the safety systems in your car, to the battery, to the motor, to the light switches, to the gaming console that you might use at home. There's so many parts of our everyday lives that are physics, and we've really woven those things into the course. So it's a lot of fun for that reason. The second thing is that physics is a really hands-on kind of course, and it has to do with the way the world works. So everything from the tides of the oceans to the way the universe was created, to the way that sports works. Oftentimes, students learn something in physics, and it clicks for them, and they can see in a deeper way how something that they've really always cared about can be enhanced by their knowledge of physics. So that's a really cool thing. Totally hands-on, totally applicable again. And finally, we at St. John's as teachers really care about you being able to read the news, but not just the news of science, really the news of a world that's in change right now. So we have wildfires in California, there are droughts throughout the world, major storms that are changing. Now all those things are because of climate change. But there's a lot that's going on underneath the surface of the world that we're living in right now that helps explain some of the craziness in the world that we're living in right now. And we're not going to shy away from talking about those things. This is one of those classes where you can really have questions that are honest questions, and nobody's going to judge you for having them because it's a science class. We're here to ask the questions and to talk about how real facts help us become smarter about them. Okay? So a little bit then about the way the course is actually going to operate. So to begin with, it matters a ton to our teachers that we get to know our students, and also that you as a student know that we're going to help be with you every step of the way. Secondly, it really matters a lot that our course time is efficient and that our class time is really valuable. And when we put those two things together, my personal answer and the way I'm going to run the class this year is to flip the course. And so that's what the title of the deck is. It's called Flippin' Physics. And what that's about is that I'm going to get to know you in a way probably that's better than what I used to do, because I think there are some advantages about flipping the course of instruction. So what does that mean? You're going to look at a video at night. It's probably really short. You're going to take notes on it, and you're going to come in class, and we're going to practice. But instead of me talking for most of the period and you guys trying to fill up notebooks full of notes or us doing problems together, you're going to work on stuff and we're going to go back and forth. And in a way, the class time becomes like a giant extra help session. And you should be empowered to lean in and ask the question that's exactly what you're going to need to get the help that you need. So how am I going to get to know you? Well, that fits with a couple things. We're going to use Flipgrid in two ways. One of those is that you're going to make a video occasionally that's just for me. It's not going to be shared with the class. It's just for me. And we're going to talk about something that's going on that you think is going well, or a problem you're having with the class, or maybe it's just you telling me about you. The second thing is you're going to make a video occasionally where you're going to basically go to the board and you're going to present a problem that you've solved in homework, and we're going to learn from what you're experiencing. All those things add together where you'll find ways, we're going to find ways, because we're flipping this instruction, to work together. So we'll do that through the flip grids, we'll do that through Zoom breakout rooms. We'll do that in the lab, where you're going to be part of a real in-person, but also an at-home kind of hybrid group. And you're going to be tying all that together through the technology. Finally, what we're going to do is keep the workflow really straightforward this year. And we're going to do most of the work in class. So our in-class time is just where it's got to be. You've got to be tuned in and ready to work when we're in class. And the goal of that is all of our workflows are going to transition super easily. So I hope it doesn't happen. But if we do have to go remote, then what we're going to be able to do is to do that seamlessly. And we'll be able to do it without missing a beat. And you'll be able to move forward. You'll be able to be strong and be learning, despite the fact that maybe it's not 100% perfect, because we're only going for 80% perfect anyway, okay? Okay, so the iPad now, what you're going to want to get is a couple of apps. If you don't have these, you're going to want to get them. Flipgrid, Lockdown Browser, those are things that you'll probably be using for other classes too. But I'm just going to show you a couple things real quick about how our class is organized. So I just punch up the home page on Canvas Student for this class. Really quick, in a nutshell, I organize things in modules, and I always put the link to the module stuff down here at the bottom of this list of stuff on the home page. Secondly, what you need for right now is what's called Course Essentials. And so before our first real day of school together, what I'm going to ask you to do is go through and click all four of these first things that are hyperlinked. The first one is the physics workbook that I'll get to in a second. But there's two iBooks from the iBook store that are 99 cents a piece, your total cost of physics this year, in addition to tuition. And then finally, graphical analysis, the graphing app that we're going to use a ton at the beginning of the year, and then for all of our labs. So we use it a lot. But lastly, let's go to the first thing I mentioned, which is the physics workbook. So rather than charge you for a textbook, this has got all of the learning activities for the year. So it's got a lot of different varied kinds of things, and it's really the guts of the course. So this plus the labs forms the backbone of what we're going to do together. And there's no preferred platform. You can open it up in Notability. You can open it up in iBooks. But please download it, get it on your iPad, so you'll never have to mess around with waiting for it to load. Okay, so all those things are what you need for the first day anyway. I'm really looking forward to getting started. Can't wait to meet you guys, and hope you're all well, and looking forward to seeing you. Take care. Bye-bye.